Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Donkey Kong Country. The last one we reached Gorilla Glacier and now we're in Ice Age Valley. Also, if you notice, Diddy Kong cracked before he hit the ground, which means there's actually something hidden over here. I like that detail. Because you're more than likely to throw the DK barrel to the left because it's fun to throw them into pits, but then they come back to you early and you realize, oh, there's something over there, okay. Now, this stage's main gimmick is slopes, weirdly enough. We've seen the slope effects on hills in basically every world in aesthetic at this point. But in the ice areas, they're a bit more annoying because due to ice physics, you're constantly sliding. However, when you're on a slope, you're constantly sliding down at a very fast rate. Meaning you'll probably be either heading towards ground or in the later half of the stage, towards bottomless pits. And that can be really annoying. The best way to counter the ice physics on the slopes is to just jump. Particularly with espresso, because then you can just fly over a lot of it. And jump more and more. It's the only real way I can tell you to get around it easily. I'm not sure how well rolling works on it, just be careful. Also, I hate this next jump right here. This is entirely for bonus room, or is it? Yeah, it is. But that, I've missed that more often than I'd like to admit. And I think this is the first time, at least from my memory, we're seeing the different colored balloons. Red is 1, green is 2, blue is 3. You can actually find green and blue 1-ups in some stages, but it's exceptionally rare to do so. Also, if I recall, in the game's files, you can actually find a, what's it called? A brown 1-up balloon. It looks the exact same as the other 3, it's just that it's colored brown like the normal Donkey Kong is. The leading theory as to why that exists is that was just going to be the 1-up balloon graphic before they realized they should have multiple colors in order to indicate different values of lives. Either way, it's Ice Age Valley. It's kind of dangerous and precarious, but overall, nothing too annoying. Croctopus Chase is this world's water level. And I'll admit, even though it's very monotonous with all the blue, I love the way this stage looks. Blue is a really nice color in my eyes. It's probably it used to be my favorite color, but nowadays that's gray and silver for personal reasons. This just looks so pretty. It's around here I started to realize, you know, I should probably use Diddy while swimming because he does swim faster, and I believe even holding down the run button, he does accelerate you slightly. Either way, the gimmick with this particular water level is the croctopuses, the octopuses we've seen the entire game so far in the water levels, which are usually patrolling certain areas, will now directly chase you down through certain sections. It's kind of like the gear section in another rare game now that I think about it, Battletoads. Huh. And that's in the sewer stage. Huh, wow, that's, Huh. Either way, time for one of my least favorite secrets in the game. Yeah, there's no way you can tell you can clip through that. Because most people probably think with this little passageway here, you can just go ahead to a certain area and go through another thing, or just go through a small passageway. But no, you have to clip through a wall that's not immediately obvious to me. I mean, sure, not every secret in the game should be immediately obvious, but there should be some hint as to what you can do with it. Like, Axiom Verge, actually, since that game's fresh in my memory. For some of the glitch area, no, for both the glitch areas and a lot of the things you need passwords for, there's hints towards them in some way. Like, there's one where you need to, I think, have, like, Reveal Sudrin the Reveal Sudrin password activated to read some text on a wall or something. Another, you need to glitch a specific thing in a room, and then check the glitch text that appears beneath your map. At least I think it was your map. Less little hints like that aren't the most obvious, but can still help you, obviously. Axiom Verge is a really damn good Metroidvania title. I've been playing a lot of those on Steam recently. Like, I just got Guacamelee not too long ago, and I finally played through that. That was a damn fine time. One thing I can give about this stage, though, is it's a bit unnecessarily long in my eyes. It could have been cut down by maybe a third and would be just fine. And especially if you know how to swim properly as Diddy, you're going to be very far away from most of the croctopuses, so there's not much threat. Which, you know, I'm cool with some stages having less threats in them. Nice little just either breather levels, like one in particular I can think of later on, or just meant to be easier levels. Go through this little small passageway over here to find not only a 1-up balloon, but also an on-guard box, as well as a chompers, this shark guy that kind of scared me as a little kid, but nowadays, it basically doesn't faze me at all. Games and sharks in games were always something that kind of terrified me as a kid. Even though sharks nowadays, I realize they're cool peoples. We kill more of them than they kill of us. That's for certain. Mostly because I saw that scene from Deep Blue Sea when I was fairly young, where out of nowhere Samuel L. Jackson gets chomped on, and that terrified the shit out of me. Nowadays, though, I look at that scene and laugh. Honestly. Oh boy, time for more Cranky. More freeloaders? Well, I ain't got nothing for you, so scram. In jungle hijinks, stick to the treetops to earn extra lives. I hear if you roll off a platform and then press the jump button, you'll do a super jump. See you later, alligator. Haha. Also, why were we back in the jungle when we're clearly in a nice area? Huh. Either way, welcome to one of the most annoying levels in the game in my eyes, Torchlight Trouble, which I think is supposed to be Flashlight Trouble here in the States because, you know, Rare's British. The main gimmick with this is that we have a unique animal buddy, Squawks. And on the Super Nintendo version of the game, this was removed in the Virtual Console. There's a bit of an annoyance with Squawks you're going to see here in a moment. You see that white flash? Whenever you turn around, they program Squawks turning around as well. That includes a frame where the flashlight flashes the screen. If you are prone to seizures or sensitive to flashing lights like that, be careful in this stage or watching this video for the next few moments. This ends about 8 minutes in, because this can really hurt your eyes. It even hurt my eyes when I was recording it, because it was pretty dark in the room. The Virtual Console versions of this game removed that, thankfully, but it's still pretty annoying, especially when you have to turn around multiple times in a row. That's kind of a dumb design case there. It's a case where I get what they're trying to go for. They're going for the realism, but it's not needed. I think that persists through all... I think at least the first 2 country games. I forget if Squawks is even a buddy in 3. And I do know for a fact they removed it in all the Virtual Console versions. This is probably one of the game's few musical tracks I'm not too fond of, the cave theme. It's a bit too minimalistic. I love the echo effect, though. This end is actually very annoying to get because you need to do a really good roll jump more often than not to get it. Though admittedly, looking at it now, I could have done that a different way where I could have just jumped from above and roll jumped from above and jumped up just to make myself safe on the, what's it called, platform. One more bonus room, and it's probably one of the most annoying. It's another one of the claptrap ones. However, we need to bounce up here first and then jump over to there to get the G. Obviously, this isn't necessary for 100%. I just like getting all the, what's it called, Kong letters. But this is a particularly annoying one because you have to deal with not only claptrap, but also the squawk flashing. Though there is a bit of a way you can get around this claptrap, more or less. If you're standing, more like doing short hops on the tire, there is a very, very low chance he'll be able to hit you. It's much lower than usual because you'll be constantly jumping, just meaning that since you're doing such small hops, you're not likely to get hit. And there we go. That didn't need to be that hard, but it was. The Claptrap special stages really are some of the most annoying, though, just due to the way Claptrap works, especially with the speed up he gets. Either way, Torchlight Trouble, not a very long stage, but it can hurt your eyes if you're not careful. And at this point, we are precisely 62% of the way done. Ooh, wait, that actually reminds me. Between parts, I was looking up how percentage works here in DKC1 in particular. And I found a few different answers, but the most general consensus seems to be the accurate one in that you get 1% for every normal stage cleared and 1% for every bonus stage you find. The final boss also counts for 1%, but normal boss stages do not. But you know, that's actually a pretty fair way of going about it. Either way, welcome to Rope Bridge Rumble, which is another one of my least favorite stages in the game. But the main reason for this comes from Winky here. We've already been over why I don't like Winky, but the thing is about Winky and tires is that jumping isn't the easiest thing to pull off consistently with them. Sometimes you'll jump with Winky and not the tire, meaning you might not make jumps. Or sometimes when you try to jump with Winky, you'll bounce off the tire first, meaning that you'll be in midair when you press the button, also meaning you won't make the jump. It doesn't sound that annoying, and honestly, if you're not going for 100% like I am with the Kong letters, it's not. But if you want to use Winky, which you kind of want to use Animal Buddies because they do make your time easier more often than not, it just feels weird. Love this song though. Also, Is it bad that I'm only now getting Endor, well, Moon of Endor, vibes from the treehouse levels? That's probably really bad, because that's probably intentional on the developer's part, given how big Star Wars is. Really like the color palette here, too. The muted grays and blues looks really nice. I believe at this point we have shown off every single animal special stage. So what I'm trying to do more or less in most cases, if I'm not trying to get an on-guard one or an espresso one, is to avoid getting them in general. Because they can lengthen a recording session surprisingly well. Because even though it's not exactly like 90 seconds, it's probably more like 45 if even. That can still extend a stage recording pretty well. Especially when most of the stages in the game are probably only 2 to 3 minutes long if you're playing well. Also, I'm very late in mentioning this, but what the hell are we swimming in? Is this like Hawaiian fruit punch? Or is it blood? I know this is a point that basically everyone brings up about this particular special stage and a certain boss in DKC 3. But what the hell? I mean, I shouldn't be I'm wondering about realism in a game where I'm playing as a tie-wearing and hat-wearing monkey and their swordfish buddies, but seriously, what the hell? It even gets doubly so now I think about it, because Donkey Kong Country is supposedly canon with the Mario Brothers games thanks to Donkey Kong, so... This universe is weird. Also, the bonus stage theme is probably one of my favorite songs in the game. Not my favorite bonus theme in the series, that probably goes to DKC 2, because that just has such a good bonus theme. But, worth mentioning. Either way, that's all the Gorilla Glacier levels done. Now it's time for us to head on to really naughty Rampage. And this is a bit of a refight against the first boss in the game, but the main difference is... he can actually attack you now, basically. Whenever you hit him, he'll now do high jumps, which he's invulnerable during. You can jump off his head, but it won't do damage to him. You need to wait until he starts doing the long jumps instead of the high jumps. And this can be surprisingly tricky to dodge, because he gets pretty aggressive the more you hit him. Still has very little HP, though, and overall, still not that bad. Also, that's a lot of bananas. And with that, we're now on to Kremkroc Industries Incorporated. What's usually my least favorite world in the game, and we start off with Oil Drum Alley, which has probably the most annoying thing in the game. An annoying idea in the game, rather. But it has a kick-ass song. I love this song to death. Either way, we're already at the first bonus stage, get that TNT barrel, and launch through there. Now, the annoyance about this stage is entirely optional, and it only depends on whether or not you're trying to get a 100% run. Why? Well, we'll see in about a minute's time, I believe. The main whole idea with this entire level is these oil drums and how they'll constantly either be lighting or unlighting just to block your pathway. It's a fairly vanilla gimmick. In fact, it's basically just to get you introduced to the oil drums being a fairly common occurrence throughout the rest of the game, but yeah. Either way, here's the really annoying thing. You might want to get a life here, but don't. Go for the singular banana. Why? You might remember how I mentioned this game has a 100% marking. To get that last percent, you need to do what I just did there. If you don't get into this specific bonus stage while in that previous bonus stage, I believe the game will glitch you out of being able to ever access this one, meaning you're stuck at 100% instead of 101%. I think. I remember that being a thing that happens. I might be thinking of a later game in the series, honestly. But still, be careful. And I think you have to clear this specific special stage too. It's also, I think, the longest special stage in the game too, because you have to go Donkey Kong Country. I like the idea of them hiding a bonus within a bonus, because that's pretty clever, but at the same time, you could potentially miss out on this, and thus, the true completion marking, and that can be painful. And with that, we've reached 100 lives, and I do mean 100, because as I mentioned before, even though the counter stops at 99, the game will count above 99 in terms of programming, so I do have exactly 100 lives right now. This is the only time the game does that, too, a bonus within a bonus. If they had done that earlier in the game, I'd be completely fine with it, but there's basically no hint you can do that aside from just finding it. And as I mentioned before, I like to have hints towards when they're secrets, even if they're more obscure. And I don't think you can tell that there's like a breakable section in that wall, at least not from my knowledge. Mind you, as I mentioned before, that also could just be an fragment of the era, because secrets in games then were treated differently than secrets in games now. And that's probably just my, I don't want to say era bias, because I grew up playing these kind of games, but me being used to the way things are done now in comparison. Now, one thing I believe I miss out on in this stage is that I believe there's a Rambi hidden in what looks to be a bottomless pit, but it's actually not. And that's mostly just because I didn't remember it was there. I had better ideas, plus I handled myself pretty well with that barrel right there anyway. As with usual with these kind of special stages, just mash the jump button and you get through it, no problem. This platforming section here is kind of precarious, though. They start you off easy there with the oil drums just going on and off, but now we're going to have multiple in a row, and this gets kind of tricky, particularly if you found Rambi earlier. Because Rambi, his one issue is, even compared to the normal Kongs, he has a lot of weight behind his drop. So you'll fall a bit faster, meaning you might have a bit more issues platforming. I should have gotten hit there, okay. I'm not actually sure when the hitbox starts and ends for the fire. It's not exactly one-to-one when the fire starts and ends, I can tell you that much. Either way, with us getting the G, we are now done with that stage, and thankfully they never do another bonus within a bonus, as I mentioned before. But now it's time for Trick, Track, Trick, which introduces a gimmick I'm not a fan of. This is only in 2 stages in the game, but we basically have an auto-scroller here. We have to stay on the elevator, otherwise we're basically screwed. And they make up for this by not having too many bonuses in this area, I believe, but it can be dangerous. I believe this is also the world that has the last warps. I know there's a warp in this stage. I think the walkway at the start, you have to cartwheel jump off of it, and to land in a tire or a barrel to get over towards the end. And I think it's the last real warp the game has to offer. Which, you know, at least they did it in a stage where it could be worth it because of the whole elevator, conveyor belt, whatever this is, gimmick. But I would have preferred to have one more warp later on in a very similar stage. Oh yeah, that's right. Donkey Kong actually has an idle animation where he makes a sound that actually kind of hurts my ears. That's a bit hard to make. Oh, joy. It's even in the bonus stages. This is one of those bonus stages you just have to find. You have to even clear it for it to count, I believe. But as I mentioned before, I'm still not entirely certain of what stages you need to clear, or if you even need to clear any of the bonus stages, or if you just need to find them. But yet again, that's mostly due to relative inexperience with the country games compared to, say, other platformers on the system. I don't get the purpose of those naughties. They don't really have a chance of killing you if you see them coming. Now, stingers on this path make sense, because we can't kill them with anything but the roll. And now, this is actually a bit of an interesting claptrap bonus room, because it's the first one where we encounter a purple claptrap, and they're special because they jump when you jump, meaning you can't just rush towards them and do a little short hop. You need to do a full-out jump in order to be able to damage them well. And it's not too bad here, but once they actually start showing up in levels, it can be annoying. Also, coming up is one of my few actual transitions in this entire LP, or jump cuts rather, because when you clear this bonus stage, you're sent back towards the beginning of the elevator sections the whatever section we're on start, and I didn't want to make you go through all that again. I think they cut down the part from about 23 minutes to just over 21, so yeah. At least I think it's... I don't quite remember. I don't really reserve information, preserve information like that to my brain, honestly. It's not really worth it. I always have trouble with the coconut throwing neckies in particular, though, because I always have issues telling where their coconuts are in relation to me because I'm constantly trying to pay attention to both the elevator and me. We're actually coming up on the end of the stage right now. I think the warp drops you off either right here or on the next platform because I think they usually drop you off towards where the first arrow sign is. I don't think I mentioned it yet, but I think the arrow signs that... oh, bye, Crusher. I think the arrow signs indicate when you're getting really close to the goal, so watch out for those. I want to take out this Manky Kong, though, because beyond him is a Winky token I don't get because I don't want to go back in that special stage. And the last bonus for the actual level. My basic advice for any of these kind of special stages, be it these ones in particular, or the ones that have the Kong letters for you to get an extra life, just keep an eye on the ones that you're not trying to target, honestly. Because they go down in a line. When one's blue, the next will be green, the one after that red. So just keep an eye on that pathway, and you should have a clear path of trying to get it all done. But with that, I'm going to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 5, we'll be heading into elevator antics, and I think even finishing off this entire world. See you guys then.